2018 Volvo Polestar. And if you looked up this video, you probably already know that Polestar is Volvo's version of M or AMG. And you probably also know that the Volvo has 362 horsepower and 347 pound-feet of torque. And maybe you know it does 0 to 60 in 4.4 seconds. All I know is I want to drive it. So if you know anything about cars, you'll probably be able to tell pretty quickly that this isn't your grandmother's Volvo. First of all, there's lots of blue. There's blue here. There's blue Polestar badges in the back. There's blue Polestar badges on the wheels. There's a theme of blue, especially when you get the color Rebel Blue. Not only that, you'll see it has black accents in the grille, black accents under the grille, carbon fiber splitter, carbon fiber mirrors, carbon fiber side skirts, 20-inch alloys, massive Polestar brakes that are ventilated. Coming to the back here, one of my favorite parts of the car, it has this aggressive wing, this black Volvo badging, and these stainless steel Polestar exhaust tips. Also, I love the way that the Polestar badge looks like a piece of candy that you just want to unwrap. So, you probably think, judging by 362 horsepower, this engine cover would look sporty, aggressive maybe. Well, let's take a look. Nope, it looks like an aspiring trash can lid. Not only that, it's soft and spongy. I don't know why Volvo decided that it'd be a good idea to put a memory foam pillow underneath the hood of their car. But underneath this pillow of an engine cover is a 2-liter 4-cylinder with a supercharger and a turbocharger. Peak torque comes in around 3,500 RPM. These pedals are actually really interesting. They're finished in a nice brushed aluminum, and they have these weird squares put all over the pedals for extra grip. Another thing that most Polestar owners probably won't notice is that there's just a little Polestar logo right in the brake pedal and right on the dead pedal right here. So when I step into this car, I notice there's lots of blue. There's blue stitching, there's blue in the gear shift knob. There's blue in this Swedish flag on the seat. I also noticed that this infotainment system looks a bit dated. There's number dials, which I haven't seen in a long time, and this digital dash just doesn't look quite as crisp as the newer ones. Despite that, the interior is really nicely finished. There's aluminum everywhere. There's carbon fiber and this waterfall effect right here through the center console. There's lots of Alcantara and leather with blue stitching. It's actually quite a nice place to be. This wheel is thin and comfortable with metal paddles. Even though the back is plastic, they're still appealing to the eye. If you know anything about Volvo, you'll probably know that it's a Swedish company, and by that you'll know it's cold in Sweden. This car has a theme of heat. Every seat in the car is heated. Not only that, the steering wheel is heated, and I've also noticed that the air conditioning could be a bit better. So I think Swedish people were thinking, it's not that hot here, let's just make it well heated. So the seats, they're quirky, they're wonderful, they're comfortable. They're Alcantara with blue stitching and soft leather. They have the Polestar logo right at the top of the seat. The headrests are still traditional Volvo, but yet they look sporty. The only thing I could say is it'd be nice if these were also blue. Volvo really underdid themselves with the headlights on this car. When you look at their newly redesigned models, they have these cool Thor's hammer headlights. But on this older, unfacelifted model, you can see that they're really plain. They just have one circle right here and then some LED running lights that aren't even built into the headlights in an interesting way. Now the taillights in this car are a different story. They're actually really cool. They have these nice LED strips that go down. It's sort of an interesting S or L shape, I guess, depending on how you look at it. But they're really cool. I can almost imagine an hourglass effect of like sand flowing down through here. It's a really cool look. The first impression I get from this car is it's comfortable, it's easy to drive. The steering, it's not too heavy, it's not too light, it's just right. Suspension's firm, but definitely compliant. It rides on Olam's dampers, and you can tell it's really well tuned and well adjusted. And if you don't like the way it's tuned, you can go to the dealership and they'll change it for you. From the outside, this car sounds aggressive, smooth, and crisp, but from the inside it sounds kind of like a diesel generator at low RPM. And then when you give it some gas, it sounds like an angry blender. The transmission in this car, it's not what I call a crisp. It's not like a dual clutch. It's a little jerky and slow. It feels kind of outdated, but it definitely does the trick. I've heard that it's actually a big improvement over the last generation before this. They put a new ZF 8-speed transmission in it apparently, and it's fair. The downshifts are kind of rough. As you can see, it kind of kicks you forward, and then the upshifts aren't as snappy as I'd like them to be. Definitely not a crisp feel to the transmission. Something that's caught my eye is whenever someone's in my blind spot, I see it on the inside of the car on these chunky looking blind spot monitors. I don't really like it. I'd rather have it on the outside to where if I'm looking in the mirror, I can see that someone's in my blind spot, instead of when I'm looking next to the mirror, I can see someone in my blind spot. Not only that, they look kind of big and chunky. It's like they take up too much of the window. So as you can see, I'm holding some sort of remote in my hand, and let me tell you this, no Volvo owner has ever appreciated this, and no Volvo passenger has ever appreciated this, because it's not like you sit in the back of this car and get chauffeured. This is a driver's car. What am I going to do? Am I going to go, well, okay, let me use the DVD player and look at the small font in this remote? I really don't see the point of it, but nonetheless, it is finished nicely, and I guess that's the best I can say about it. So I don't know if you can hear in the video, but you can hear a little supercharger on top of the angry blender sound. And sometimes you hear a little turbocharger, you hear a little whoosh. But most of the time you hear like a whine. It's actually really interesting. It's a quirky sound, and it's something I've never really heard in a four-cylinder before. You can definitely feel all 360 of those horsepowers. It really pulls. It's so shockingly fast, especially if you think I'm in a Volvo station wagon. Steering in this car, it actually feels quite tossable, and it feels like it leads with the front end, even though it's Haldex powered. So you'd think that since it's front wheel drive bias, it would feel like the front end would push out, but it really doesn't, even though it might. I haven't got it to the limit. So the Volvo Polestar, it's quirky, it's fast, and it's unusual. I really enjoy driving it, despite, in my opinion, several downsides that it has. It's flawed but lovable.